You did?
Mm-hmm.
That's why there's Recticare
Sure
Advanced.
did.
Recticare Advanced is seriously effective. With 2 powerful.
Well, what's on the news? Do you know?
Election relief.
What?
What's on the news? What's on the news?
Nothing.
It pays your hemorrhoids.
Is the government still going to shut down?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
What do you think about all these banks going under?
Get Recticare
Well,
Advanced.
they don't know how to manage their money.
This video just released from Hamburg, Germany Zoo. The polar bear cub was born in December but kept in
Somebody
isolation
took their money out of
for
them.
instance birth. Today is the public's first look at the first polar bear cub born in this Hamburg Zoo since 2002. Rob Schmidt tonight is up next.
The malicious leaks continue. Let's check it out.
Well, they talk about malicious leaks. Now, you watching a different news channel here. You don't ordinarily watch Newsmax, do you?
Yeah, I want to really make all the time.
You do.
Yep.
Hitting the pin.
I'm fed up with Fox.
You are.
Yep.
Well, Fox is being sued, ain't they?
Well, I guess.
And then they got rid of that guy. They fired that one guy.
I'm part of 2 guys.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
What's all that about?
I have no idea.
It's got to where they just say whatever they want to say, and they ain't supposed to do that, are they?
Ed old Tucker fired him right there.
Sure is, ain't it? Sure is. Are they just supposed to get up on TV and just say anything that they want to say and it not be truthful to be able to back it up?
Yeah.
Or are they supposed to be accurate about everything, right?
No, they don't tell nothing accurate. They just tell stuff they want me to hear, and the rest of stuff, good stuff, you don't hear about that.
Yeah, but that's not what it's supposed to be. News is supposed to be accurate, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not supposed to get up there and just tell a bunch of hokey pokey stuff, are they?
Not talk to, but that's what they do.
Well, is that one reason why the country has gone to the far left?
Mm-hmm. Fox is going to the left too.
I think that's the reason why they got rid of them. They're trying to clean up their act. I figured somebody was going to get the battle axe after Fox being out almost $750 million. It's just unbelievable how much money that they had to put out.
Yeah.
It was up in the hundreds of billions. You know that, right? Not millions, billions. Yeah, old Tucker, he's the one that got the battle axe, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When's the last time you seen your family, Uncle Bill?
Been about 2 years.
About 2 years.
Yeah.
They just abandoned you? They just abandoned you? Is that what they've done?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. They just leave you up here by yourself.
Yeah. Laura was up here yesterday.
Was she?
Yeah.
How's she doing?
She's all right.
Does she remember me?
See what?
Remember me.
They never heard of you.
Never heard of me.
Uh-uh.
How about your other daughter? Does she remember me?
They never heard of you.
She never heard of me neither.
She said, "Man, very many people never heard of you."
Well, that's the best way to be, right? I didn't realize that Tucker feller, he was making the kind of money that he was making. They said that he was worth way up in the millions. You know it. It must be a profitable thing to work in Hollywood or to be in the eyes of the public. You know it.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, these newscasters and agencies, they make a whole lot of money, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody told me one time, what is that, Wheel of Fortune? That little gal that gets up there and princes around and she opens this door up and points her finger at that and points her finger at that.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that she makes almost $1 million a year or maybe over $1 million a year getting up there working for that company. Now, how come me and you couldn't get lucky like that?
It might get me a job on TV.
Get you a job on TV?
Mm-hmm. I could clean the floors.
Right. You could work in the janitarian sector, couldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So what was Lori doing up this way? Just gallivanting around, or was she taking care of you?
No, she carried me to the grocery store.
Oh, okay. Where in the world do you go to the grocery store at?
I go to Memphis.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, ain't that a little too close for you to be going?
Yeah. Well, I just like to go where a big store is.
Right.
I go to Wally World.
You go to the World, huh?
Wally World, yeah. You know what Wally World is, don't you?
Yeah, I know what Wally World is. You think one day somebody gonna buy them out?
Nah.
You don't think one of them big Japanese or rich people from overseas somewhere is gonna come in there and lay down a lot of money and take over their whole
Nah.
industry?
Nah.
Well, we didn't think Maytag and RCA and all them other big companies would be bought out from underneath us, but they have. That's one reason why that this country has lost its footing, is because we've been sold out. You know, you can't go to just any other country and just go to buying up their real estate and just doing whatever you want to in their country. You know that, don't you? This is the only country where you can come over here, and if you got deep pockets, you can exchange your money from whatever currency that you had to American currency, and then you can come in here and just buy whatever you want to buy. And put up whatever you want to put up.
Yeah.
That's been our failure, hadn't it, Uncle Bill? All these other countries won't allow for that to happen.
They won't.
No.
I didn't know that.
You can go over there and do that if you are a citizen in their country, or if you have married somebody that's been a citizen in their country. I think that's the way it goes, but then again, I don't even know that. Some of those places are really, really strict. I mean, real strict. Now, it seems like every time I come in here, I have problems with this rug. Do you have any idea why?
Yeah, you don't keep your feet still.
Well, your feet ain't supposed to be still, are they?
Yeah.
I thought your feet's what got you to point.
When you're sitting, your feet ought to be still.
Well, your feet ain't still. Look at your feet bobbing up and down. The more
You
you
didn't
rock,
know
the
that?
more they bob. Huh?
You didn't know that?
No. Who has told
You're
you?
supposed to give them a rest.
Who has given you all this misinformation?
I don't know. I just learned back when I was a kid growing up.
Yeah. Is Lori about my age?
Do what?
Is Lori about my age?
Laura's, she's about 60, yeah.
Yeah. I'm 62. I thought she was about my age.
No.
She was a little younger than me?
She's just a year old.
I was born in 61. So she was born in 63? Or you don't remember?
She's 60 years old.
And Reba's older than Lori, right?
Yeah.
What, about 4 or 5 years?
We were 66.
66. She would be the same age as my older brother that got killed in 1976. You remember Douglas?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I remember Jagger. He was in the Memphis hospital and he died.
Uh-huh. Did y'all go down there and visit with him?
Yeah.
Did you? I thought you did. That was a bad deal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was a bad deal. Get killed right there in his own home county, in his own home, within 2 miles of his house. because of a tractor driver.
Like where most of the people get killed 25 miles of the house.
I've been told that. They get too lax, don't they? They get too lax in their driving.
Yeah. Was he riding a motorbike and he got killed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was in 1976. That was the bicentennial year. You remember bicentennial year? Whenever they was celebrating it all over America, being 200 years old. A lot of big, like Memorial, 4th of July, Labor Day, all combined into one. I mean, they turned it into a big, big deal because we had turned 200 years old. Did you graduate?
Did what?
Did you graduate, or was you a dropout like me?
I graduated 7th grade.
Graduated what?
The 7th grade.
Okay. Well, they don't consider that graduation. They said consider graduation. You got to go through all 12 years and pass every year to be able to be a graduate.
One a long time ago, when you completed the 6th grade, you had a pretty good education.
In comparison to what everybody else had an education toward,
Yeah.
you're probably right. Did you go to school in Kenton? Or do you remember where you went to school
Yeah.
at?
I went to school at Kenton and Snowdonia over there, out in Kenton, country school.
You went to Sidonia school? Or did you go to Macedonia school?
Huh?
Did you go to Sidonia school or Macedonia school? Because there was a school right there in Macedonia, just outside of Kenton, about 2 or 3 miles.
I guess it's Macedonia then. Used to be a church right across the school from it.
Well, the church is still there, but the schoolhouse has been torn down. That's up there pretty close to where the Hobbses and all live, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's up in the same territory where they was all living at. Did you ever know where the school was before that? There was another country school south of Kenton. You remember where your mother used to go to church at?
No.
Yeah, you do. Where Big Jim and Lily and all of them went to church at? You go like going towards Texas
wow.
Gas, and you turn left right there, and Sanderson's has got a house back in there. Billy Sanderson's has got a house back in there. But there was a church right there. I don't forgot the name of the church. Concord Church.
Concord Church, but wasn't no school back in there.
Yes, it was.
I don't remember no school.
It was before your time.
Must have been a long time before my time.
You drive down there where the Concord Church is, and you probably about a mile past Concord Church, and there was a lane down there, and you drive all the way to the end of the lane. That used to be a schoolhouse right there. Johnny Baker built a house right back in there. Did you ever know Johnny Baker?
Johnny Baker.
Johnny Baker. He
Never
was
heard of him.
he was a farmer down there.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of Johnny Baker?
Uh-uh.
Him and Leroy Neal was big buddies. Did you know Leroy Neal?
Leroy Neal, because they were cousins.
How was Leroy Neal your cousin?
By Jim Ring.
By Jim Ring.
Jim Ring was my Aunt Lily and Mama was sisters.
Half sisters.
No, they were sisters. Maybelle and Bud and all of them were half brothers and sisters.
What was their last names?
Bud?
Yeah. Graves?
No. Bud, James. The last name was James.
James.
Yeah.
That's where we originally got the James gang name
Yeah.
from, right?
Yeah.
The Jameses, right?
Yeah.
Is he the one that had the barbecue place down there going towards Rutherford?
Who?
Is he the one that had the little restaurant going towards Rutherford on the right hand side?
Bud?
Yeah.
No, that was Harmon.
What was his last name?
He was James. Harmon James.
So that would have been Mama Lucy's half brother.
No. Bud James was Mama's half brother.
Okay.
Harmon and John Wayne was Bud's kids.
Oh, okay.
Harmon had that restaurant out of Rutherford, run it for years.
Uh-huh.
Not Harmon, John Wayne did.
John Wayne. Had some good barbecue down there, didn't he?
Yeah. Now, I don't know. I don't know if Harmon's still living or not. I hadn't heard from him.
I bet he ain't.
John Wayne died back 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay. How did we get kin to the Graveses?
Out of what?
The Graveses? How did we get kin to the Graveses?
I'm not kin to the Graces. Yeah. Aunt Lily's daughter married Winford Graves.
That's right, Winford.
No.
But I still ain't put the connection together yet with the Neals. I thought that we was
Neil's, Callie and
Kelly was Leroy Neal's mother.
Callie and Uncle Jim were brothers and sisters.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Uncle Jim and Kelly was brothers and
sisters.
So she's probably buried up there in the Concord Church too, isn't she?
No, I think they're all buried in town.
No, they're not.
Aunt Lily and Uncle Jim buried in town.
They are?
Yeah.
Sunnyside?
Sunnyside, yeah.
Well, you know where your mother's buried at, right there on the corner?
Sunnyside, yeah.
Yeah.
There.
Are they pretty close to over there where
They're buried on my Aunt Lily and Uncle Jim's lot. Dad and Mom both they are.
They are?
Yep.
Right there in the corner?
Yep.
That's right, they are, ain't they?
Yep.
Jim is buried there.
Yeah.
Jim and Lily's buried
Yeah.
there, but not Kelly.
No, I don't know where Kelly's buried now.
Kelly wound up marrying a Neal. That's how she become a Neal. But originally she was a James, right?
Kelly?
No, wait a minute. Originally she was a
Ring?
Ring. She was a Ring.
Yeah.
So that meant that Lily was a Lily wasn't a Ring. Lily was a James. And Lily come before your mother did, right?
Yeah, she was oldest.
And then whenever their mother had your mother, she died at a young age, correct?
I reckon she died when she was a baby. I don't really know.
Was the birth that is what caused her to die?
I have no idea. But anyhow, that's how Edward Lee and Bud, Maybelle, Trudy, and Johnny were all half brothers and half sisters.
Gotcha. All right. Somebody told me that we was kin to the Crosses down there. Damian Cross used to be a mayor down there in Kenton, Tennessee.
Well, you know,
So how in the world did we get kin to the Crosses?
We're not kin to no Crosses that I know of. Damon Cross?
Damon Cross.
Yeah, no, we're not.
Did you ever know him?
Well, yeah, I know him.
How well did you know him?
Well, I know him just real well when I was a kid.
Did
He
you?
was a grown man when I was a kid.
Was he?
Yeah. Matter of fact, we used to live not too far from him out in the country.
You did?
Yeah. Lots a long time ago.
You ever think about them good old days?
Them wasn't the good old days. Them was bad old days.
Why was they bad? Why was they bad?
We didn't have nothing. We didn't have no air conditioners and no vehicles. We had to walk where we went.
You were just poor people.
We were born poor. Been poor all my life. The poorness didn't bother me.
What bothered you?
Not having nothing. We didn't have nothing.
Well, that's part of being poor. You can't be poor and have everything. You do know that, don't you?
I didn't know that.
That's part of the gimmick. If you're going to be poor, that means you can't have nothing. What do you think, that you was going to be able to be put a stamp on your plateau and say that I'm poor even though you own the cattle on 1,000 ranches or something?
But I guess it's okay. We just live in one little old world. We didn't know about no other world except Kenton. That's as far as I know the world was at. As Kenton was the end of it.
And you was the youngest one among the boy and the girl.
Yeah, I was the black sheep of the family.
No, you wasn't.
Yeah.
Was you really?
Yeah, I was black sheep.
So they didn't love you like you should have been loved, or what?
I don't know, but I was just a black sheep.
Did it talk down to you, make you pee in the bed, or what? What happened to you?
I was just a black sheep.
In other words, they didn't care for you. They catered to everybody else, didn't they?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
They made it hard on you, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then your sister wound up and getting married.
Yeah. Yeah. I left home at 16-year-old.
You run away. You was a runaway child.
No, I went to live with Uncle Jim and Aunt Lily. They needed some help, and I lived with them for a few years.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Was that same big old house that I know them to be living in?
A big old house.
Because your mother didn't come and live over there in that other house until later, wasn't it?
Later on, they moved there.
By that time, your daddy'd already done died, hadn't he?
Yeah. No, my daddy lived there.
Your daddy lived in that house? I didn't know that.
He got sick up north.
Yeah, you told me that. You told me that. And you brought him
Bobby
home.
had a station wagon, Chevrolet, and we put him in the back end of that Chevrolet station wagon because he couldn't get up or something. And he laid back there, and we brought him home. And he had an old Ford 47-something Ford truck, a car, and we drove it home.
But he got sick while he was up north.
Got bad sick. Yeah, got cancer.
Wow.
We come back home, he died.
Come back home, he didn't live but what, a few weeks?
Yeah.
Well, you know, none of us guaranteed of tomorrow.
That's a long time ago. He
Well,
died
sure.
in 57, I think.
May have been. Now, wasn't Uncle Jim, wasn't he in World War One?
Yeah.
How long was he in there? Do you remember?
Don't know. James Hummer was in the war.
He was.
Pete never did go. Pete, Harold Lloyd, his name was Harold, we called him Pete. James and Pete were brothers.
Well, you know, there ain't no marking on Jim's grave out there pertaining to him being a veteran.
Well, they just didn't mark him back in when he died.
He should have some sort of an army headstone or something, a plaque or something. You know what I'm saying?
They didn't do that back in the 40s and 50s.
Well, the 40s and 50s would have been World War II. I know good and well that they kept records in World War II.
He fought during the German War.
He fought during World War One, right?
Yeah, sure. 44.
In 44.
Yeah, the war was over in 44. I don't know when it started. It lasted about 4 years. I guess it started in 41, something like that.
Well, then he fought in World War II.
Yeah,
I thought he fought in World War One.
no.
Well, Dad fought in World War II.
Huh?
My dad fought in World War II. So you're saying that Big Jim Ring was basically the same age as my dad?
No.
I think my dad would be almost 100 years old now, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
He was born in 26.
yeah.
1926. When was you born?
33.
33. So that meant Big Jim had to have been born in the 20s too, right?
No, Jim was born back in the,
Long about the time your mother was born?
back in probably
Early 1900s.
1910, 5 or something. somewhere around there.
So he may have been in World War One. He would have been. He would have
He
been.
was in war. I don't know what kind of war he was in.
He was
but
in
he's
World War
war.
One. I thought he was. He was in World War One. He would have been a teenager just
He's
about the time World War One broke
We
out.
fought the Germans twice.
Well, that didn't make no sense neither, did it?
No.
And of course, we was going to stay out of the war until they bombed Pearl Harbor over there.
Yeah.
That was bad news, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I imagine y'all kept up with all that on the radio, didn't you?
Yeah. We didn't have radio much.
Where was you during the time whenever Pearl Harbor got bombed? Was
I
you?
was living out in Kenton.
You was
Uh-huh.
over there with Uncle Jim. You was living with Uncle Jim at the time.
No.
You was still living with your mother at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Because whenever that happened, you was just what?
I was trying to.
13, 14, 15?
I was about 9 years old.
9?
Somewhere around there, yeah. Because the war was over in 44.
And you'd have been 22 years old whenever the war was over.
Well, I wasn't either because it wasn't 22.
You'd have been 12.
Yeah, more like 12.
You'd have been 12 years old whenever the war.
I was born in 33.
Right. So you'd have been 11 or 12, something like that. So yeah, you was still over at Kenton at the time. And is it true that your sister eloped and went all the way down to Mississippi to get married to Bob?
That's where I got married, Corinth, Mississippi. She did too. That's where everybody got married back then.
Why?
You didn't have to have a license or nothing. You just go down there and get married. Up there, Tennessee, always you had to have a blood test and all that, and license and everything. You go to Mississippi and you just get married, and they give you a license, marriage license. Corinth, Mississippi. That's just a little bit out of Memphis down there. Everybody went to Corinth.
You and Betty Mae got married in Corinth?
Yes, sir. That's where your dad and Betty got married at too.
I know.
That's where everybody got married back then.
Well, back then was the main road going into Kenton? Was it even blacktop at that time, or was it just an
That's
old
all
gravel road?
roads.
Those was gravel roads back then?
All gravel road. A lot of them were dirt roads.
Really?
Yeah, that road down there with Texas Gas, that was a dirt road when we lived down that road, Marvin Alton's place. And then they finally got where they gravelled it, and that was big time gravel. Get a gravel road. Well, you know, old cars and wagons would mar up to the axle in the wintertime, them things.
Yeah.
Be ruts that cut down in there and things be marred up to the axles.
Yep.
Them old dirt roads.
And you're probably right. Those wasn't really the best of the best times, was they? I mean, you lived poor. You was probably cold in the winter and hot in the summer.
I had to walk all the way out from Marvin Alton's place down there out to the highway to catch the bus.
How far of a walk was that?
That was about 2 miles, 2.5 miles. Rain or shine, we walked. Stood out in the rain, caught the bus.
Lord God, if you used to do that today, it'd be child abuse.
Yeah.
Huh?
And then
It'd be
when-
child abuse if you used to make your kid get out in the rain like that and
Yeah.
walk out there. That somebody'd be knocking on your door, truant officer, and telling you was abusing your child.
I'd have to go down there and stand in front of the old furnace at school and dry off when I got to school.
You would.
They'd open up at a big old furnace door, and I'd stand there and turn around until I got dried off.
In other words, you was just smoking. All the steam coming off your clothes. Lord. So I wonder if you didn't get sick. Did it ever make you sick?
I don't remember being sick. The only time I ever remember, I had the flu one time, and I thought I was going to die.
That was whenever you was living in Union City, though, right?
I mean, I got bad sick.
But that was whenever you was living in Union City, right?
No, I was living in Marvin Alton's place.
Marvin?
Living down there from Texas Gas, turned down that road, and Marvin Alton had a farm down. My daddy farmed that. He sure cropped that farm there.
You talking about you turn right, like going to Union City, you turn right off 45 going to Texas Gas?
You know where Texas Gas is?
Yes, I
There's
do.
a road right past Texas Gas going towards Union City. The road turns right there.
Is it right there where that cemetery is in front of that house?
Gosh, I don't remember a cemetery being there. It might seemed like it was a cemetery on the other side over that road a long time ago. Yeah.
Did Joanne
Leroy Neal now,
did
all
Joanne
that
did
time.
Joanne live in that house at one time?
No, that was before their time.
Leroy Neal lived
They
where?
lived down that road. They lived down on Bruce Switch's place.
Okay. Was that the name of the road, Bruce Switch?
Bruce Switch was the name of
But
the
at
road.
the time, Bruce Switch went all the way back in behind the Hobbs's place and come out back over there at Concord Church, didn't it?
No. Bruce Switch was down from Texas Gas there. He turned down through there.
There never was a road that went all the way to Concord Church. I mean, not Concord, but
No,
Macedonia
there
Church.
wasn't.
I thought there was a road that went all the way to Macedonia Church back down in there.
No. It was a church back on this road run into another T road down there, and it run out the highway too. And this road was angled, runs out this. They come in a road like that, like this. Leroy lived at Bruce Switch place. That was a dead end road. That you didn't go nowhere else when you went to their house. That was a dead end right there. There's a big old house. Had lots of rooms in it, big old porches on it and everything.
Wow. Who was Betty before he married her? Do you remember?
Who what?
Who was Leroy Neal's wife, Betty? What was her maiden name before she got married to him?
Betty, wait a minute, I know her.
I reckon she's still living.
Yeah, she's still living. The last report I had of her, she was, oh goodness, I know what.
Flippings, maybe?
No.
Simpson, maybe? And I still can't get over the fact that there were some Jews that lived there in Kenton that you claim that his wife kept wanting to get pregnant because she wanted to have another Jesus.
Yeah.
I've never heard such of a crazy story as that.
Well, there was some Jews lived there.
And
She was a Gearing.
A Deering.
Joe Gearing.
Okay.
Bill Jack Gearing was her brother.
Okay. There
We
was
called him Hap Jack.
Okay, there was a Deering that lived right across from where Mama Lucy basically lived, right beside Aunt Lily. There was some Deerings right there at one time.
That was a different Gearing.
That was a different Deering.
Yeah, they were different people.
Where'd Tommy Wade come from? Did Tommy Wade?
Tommy Wade, that was his daddy's name, Tommy Wade. He had the same name his daddy did.
Well, what got them on top of the
Well, he
the
always
money
had
market?
money.
Huh?
Tom Wade always had money.
The old man did.
Yeah. I never did know what his wife's name was, but Tommy, the boy, he had a sister, and I can't remember her name. Seemed like it was Patty or something like that.
Well, they must
Patty
have.
Wade.
They must have been financially sound growing up in that area because they're the ones that
They had lots of money.
they had a lot of money. Didn't they? Must have inherited some money or something, huh?
I don't know about that, but they had a lot of money.
And also the Sandersons had some money too, didn't they?
I didn't know nothing about the Sandersons. I figured they did, but I didn't. The Sandersons were after my time, after I left.
I got you. But Bill Sanderson, which was Billy Sanderson's dad, he's the one that started that hardware store down there, wasn't he?
Kenton, didn't he?
Yeah.
Has they still got them stores there?
Yeah.
Who owns them?
Sandersons.
Yeah, but him and his wife separated.
They did, but she's still running the show down there. They're still selling lawnmowers and
Oh,
and
okay.
beds and hardware stuff.
Okay, I thought this closed down.
No. There was talk about her going to shut it down,
That's
but
about the only store in Kenton, ain't it?
yeah. A matter of fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it looked like the pharmacy had shut down again.
Yeah.
Who was it that opened up that pharmacy at one time?
I have no idea.
And then there used to be a grocery store right there in town.
There used to be a lot of growers in town there. You had 2 or 3 grocery stores. Pat Keepley on one on the corner down there. We had 2 pool rooms in that town. Had a cafe in that town. Had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gas stations.
I knew you had a cafe there at the Shell station. Who was it that run that Shell station for years?
I don't know.
He done mechanic work. He had a car lift in there.
A Bufford owned one cafe down in Rutherford. Called him Poss Bufford or something like that.
And I guess all them people are gone now, ain't they?
That's a long time ago. And used to be on Sundays, stuff closed. You could not buy nothing on Sundays. You couldn't buy no. If you run out of gas on Sunday, you was gonna stay out of gas till Monday.
Because people had honor for the Sabbath, didn't they? They had honor for the Bible back then, didn't they?
They stayed open on Saturday nights till 12 o'clock.
Well, somebody
12 o'clock come, they shut the doors. You had to go home.
Well, somebody told me that the Union City police down there arrested 2 girls in the 40s for indecent exposure because they was wearing short shorts and halter tops, showing too much of their body, and they arrested them down there for that.
I don't know about that.
Could you ever imagine how the girls dress today? That if they was to have tried to have done that back whenever you was growing up,
Yeah.
what would have went on?
Yeah.
People don't have no respect for themselves no more, do they?
No,
They just basically go around nude, don't they?
just about it.
I mean, they're exposing themselves.
Well, the world is not the same world that me and you grew up in. It's a different world. And it's going to change more. It ain't through. And it's now it's changing daily. It used to do it by year, but now it's just about everything by day now. It's different.
Well, I said something to your mother.
Something happens over in New York City in 30 seconds. We don't hear about it down here.
I said something to your mother a long time ago. I said, Mama Lucy, the world's gone crazy. And she looked at me, she said, no, it had. She said the world hadn't gone crazy. She said the people in the world's gone crazy.
The people is the world.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's what makes the world.
No,
the
it's not.
Sure it is.
No, it's not.
What do you think makes the world?
The rivers, the streams, the woodses,
No.
the forest,
No.
the mountains, the Rocky Mountains, the Cumberland Mountains, the wild frontier, all that makes the world.
All in frontier places didn't build all these houses. The people did. The people built the houses and the business and the things.
Whenever you was growing up as a child over there in Rutherford, was Davy Crockett's wife still living at that time, or she done already died? Or not his wife, his mother. Was she still living over there?
David Crockett I think he was dead when I was born.
He may have been. I'm sure he was. Yeah, because he
was back in what, the 17s or 18s?
No, he was back in the 1800s. Back during the Alamo. When was the Alamo War?
I have no idea.
1820, 1830, something like that?
Somewhere around there.
It was before the Civil War.
Yeah.
But that was a completely different group of people back then. And could you only imagine these kids getting out here and shooting these kids and raping these little old girls and stuff? Do you know what that bunch of people would do today if that was going on?
Well, they'd shoot them. Kill them.
They'd have
tar and feather them.
They'd have strung them up, wouldn't they?
Well, back then, when anybody got a divorce back then, if they know about it, they got tarred and feathered and run out of town.
No way.
Yes, sir.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. You didn't get divorces back then. If you did, you kept it quiet. You didn't let nobody know it. Because you get tarred and feathered.
How about the gays and the lesbians? Was there any gays and lesbians back then?
Yeah, but they was real secret.
They was.
Yeah.
They didn't promote themselves out the way that they do today?
They kept it quiet. Every now and then there'd be a leak out that so-and-so was that way, you know.
You probably found more of it up there in Chicago whenever you was up there living in Chicago than you did down there in Tennessee at that time.
That place...
Chicago was already a wicked place whenever you was up there, wasn't it?
It's a bad place. Still is a bad place.
Always gotten probably 1,000 times worse since
Always
then.
been a lot of shootings and killings. Where I worked at one morning, I went in there and there's an old car sitting in there full of bullet holes in the building where they shot it up that night, something, and they towed it in and put it inside that building. I worked out on 7050 Roosevelt Road, body crown. Bobby and me and Charles and all worked there for a while.
Was you up there whenever they arrested Al Capone?
No.
They done already got Al Capone out of the picture?
Yeah, I went to the theater I went to the theater where he was killed at in front of the theater.
Al Capone wasn't killed.
Huh?
Al Capone wasn't killed. Al Capone went to jail.
Al
Capone went to jail.
One of them got killed right there.
Well, there were several of them got killed back during the violent. What was it? The Valentine.
John Dillinger. He's the one that got killed there with the theater.
That's right.
Clarkford Theater there on Clarkford Street. We used to go on Saturdays. We'd go in one theater, see a movie, walk down the street, and go across the street, and walk in another theater and see a movie there. See 2 or 3 movies.
How much was movies back then?
They had a lot of movies.
How much was the movies back then?
Gosh, I don't know, 25, 30 cents.
Lord.
Wasn't much.
See, everything's gotten out of socket whenever it comes to being too pricey now. I mean, if you're wealthy and rich and you was born with a silver spoon in your mouth, you're probably doing okay. But the working class and the poor class, they just basically just doing without now, ain't they?
I guess so. Well, they're the ones keeping the world going, but the poor people are. They're the ones working.
How are we gonna get this problem straightened out? How are we gonna get this world back to being normal again?
We're not.
Why ain't we?
We just ain't. There ain't no way it's going to get straightened out again till Jesus comes back.
Well, they talking about America defaulting on its loans, and they're also saying that would be catastrophic to us over here if that was to happen. And I know they've whistled Dixie before, crying wolf. But is it possible that they could do it this time?
I don't know. This world is changing. This television started out running the world, and the computer is winding it up.
Back whenever you was growing up as a kid, they didn't even have TV, right?
No, we barely had a radio, and it run on a battery. We didn't have electricity. I was 9 or 10 years old before we had electricity. Never had a little light hanging down from the ceiling with a bulb in it. Didn't have no plug-ins for nothing in the walls because didn't have nothing to plug into them. My daddy worked for the WPA back then.
Where was that at?
I was everywhere. That's something the government put out for jobs for people. Called it the WPA.
But back then, people would actually work, right?
Yeah.
People nowadays don't want to work.
No, they don't want to work.
I'm talking about young people that got good backs.
I know it. Don't nobody want to work.
Everybody wants to get a college degree now and work in behind a desk, don't they?
Yeah.
And we see where that's failed. The colleges, because of all the people that didn't, where all the jobs went south. And now all the people that got the college degrees, or not all of them, but a great deal of them, now can't even pay their tuition fee of their schooling that they went through.
There ain't no jobs for college no more. College people, they're all full. Used to, if you get your education, you can get a good job, But all them good jobs are filled up, or machines has took it over.
Or they've run over to other countries somewhere, huh?
We got robots building cars and stuff,
Robots.
Yeah.
Robots.
Robots, yeah.
Robots?
Yeah.
Robot answer the telephone
That
now. You know what? Hey,
big
whenever you call
Chevrolet.
somebody now, it's automated to the point that an operator come on, but
That
she'll
little-
tell you press 1 for this and press 2 for that.
Yeah.
That's all robot automated stuff.
Yeah. That little old bitty Chevrolet Chevette, it was built by all robots. Every bit of the building, when I went to GM training school, they showed a building where it was built in. There wasn't even no light in the building. All you see was sparks from the welders putting it together. And they hauled them upside down in the box, some of the box cars.
And that was in the 50s or 40s, right?
That was a long time ago. I don't know. I had a little old Chevette.
You did.
Yeah. It got wrecked and they totaled it out and I rebuilt it and drove it 2 or 3 years. It was just a little old bitty car. It got about 40 miles a gallon of gas.
Was that what they called it? MG?
No.
You remember the little MGs?
MT. Well, who built that?
MG. I think it was made by Nissan, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Little bitty old sports car.
A MT?
MG. I think it was MG.
I don't remember MT.
May have been MT.
I don't remember.
I just know it was a little bitty old sports type
Yeah.
car. You could also get them without a top on it.
Well, this was a little Chevette. It had a two-door Chevette. It had a back seat. And,
Well, they made
and a bucket
Chevettes.
seat.
They made ragtop Chevettes too.
Huh?
They made ragtop Chevettes.
Yeah.
They made Chevettes without a top.
I think that old Chevette was a 81 or something like that. I don't remember.
But whenever you was growing up, you had to do more jobs other than working on cars. Did you ever milk cows?
Yeah, I farmed for years.
Who'd you farm for?
Uncle Jim, I lived
Uncle
there
Jim?
and helped him farm. We grew cotton, corn, strawberries,
And he had cows and
had
pigs,
cows, milk cows, had hogs, had horses.
and you loved it.
Yeah.
You probably thought more of him than you did anybody, didn't you?
We was gathering corn one time, long time ago. It's old Dick and Buck. Well, we got out to the end of the road with James Homer. He was taking the side road, and Uncle Jim taking the side road, and I was taking the down road. And we got out to the end of the road. Old Buck, he balked, would not move. He would not do nothing. Whooped on him, he stopped. James Homer had this old sage grass going up there about that high. He went up there and pulled some of them, watered it up. I didn't know what he was doing. He struck a match to that and stuck it on that horse's belly.
Oh,
And that horse pulled that load out of there by itself. I thought he was going to burn that horse up. It swings all over. It had that old long hair on him, but he didn't balk no more. He had an old horse, he pulled that whole load by itself.
Lord. If you was to do something like that now today, you'd probably wind up in jail for animal abuse.
Well, back then, we didn't have tractors, horses, and mules and horses, what we put crops in with.
Really?
Yeah.
Even plowing with a mule or plowing with a horse?
I plowed Merle Primrose. You remember him?
I heard the name, yeah.
I thought he was going to kill an old gray horse one time. We was breaking ground. He was in front of me with this old gray horse, another old horse, and I was behind him. Had an old breaking plow about that wide. That's
Right.
a pretty big place. And this old horse bonked. Old Merle went back there and undone that single tree, walked up there to that horse, and drawed back to hit that horse in the head, and I guess he took the second thought. I thought he was going to hit him in the head with that single tree, but he didn't. He went back there and buckled it back up, and the old horse went on.
So he was fixing to kill that horse, wasn't he?
I sure thought he was going to hit that horse in the head with that single tree.
And a single tree, that thing's made out of hard lumber, ain't
Well,
it?
yeah, that was probably open. The thing was about that long.
Yeah.
And had two hooks on the end of it. He undone it off that plow, and he walked up there and drawed back to hit that horse, and I guess he took the second thought. I thought sure as well he was going to hit that horse in the head.
And back then, a horse was very valuable to a farmer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What was they still practicing the old method that if you stole somebody's horse back then, you'd still
the hanging offense.
Oh, come on, Uncle Bill.
Yes, sir. And it still is, still on the books. It's a hanging fence. It's still a horse.
Did you ever hear anybody stealing a horse that wound up dying on account of it whenever you was a kid growing
Well,
up?
back then, yeah, they'd hang them.
Back then?
Yes, sir. That was you didn't even get no trial. If you stole that horse, that was a offense, a hanging offense. You got hung. See, Raymond had a horse that he stole about 10, 15 years ago.
What happened to it?
They caught it. He went to sale up here in Kentucky. They knew where it was going, and they got the horse back. And I don't know what they ever done to the kid that stole the horse.
Somebody stole their horse just recently? Like 10 years ago or something?
About 15 years ago, yeah. We was living here when he got stolen.
Was it a high dollar horse?
Yeah, it was a roping horse.
Okay. It was like some of them horses that like Billy Sanders trained over there. The Tennessee walking horse. You remember?
No, Tennessee. This was a roping horse.
Okay.
With roping calves.
Okay.
Calf and tie down.
But you're telling me that whenever you was growing up, even in the 40s, you would still hear occasionally from somebody around in that country area of somebody stealing a horse and hanging on account of it?
Yeah, they'd hang them.
But you did. I mean, that didn't actually occur whenever you was a teenager. By that time, they quit that stuff, though, didn't they?
They done it. They hung people back then.
Even in the 40s after World War II?
Yeah. Man, listen. If you mistreated anything back then, they took the law in their own hand and they'd hang you. We didn't have no lawyers and stuff back then. Like they have now. We got lawyers and lawyers and lawyers now. But we didn't have no lawyers back then.
Law wasn't nothing like it is today.
Very
was it?
seldom had a doctor. Old Doc Gray's the only doctor we had in 40 miles around there.
Right. Did you even know anything at all about Reeves? Because Reeves was just right down the road from Kenton.
When he made a call at the house, he got paid by chickens. People would give him chickens. Didn't have no money.
All right. Did you know about Reeves, the town of Reeves, whenever you was growing up?
What?
The town of Reeves.
Reeves.
Yeah, Reeves.
Yeah.
You knew about that town back whenever you was growing up, even though it was all dirt roads and gravel roads?
Yeah, but I never was in it much.
Did it have a bad reputation?
I have no idea.
Sidonia and Hoppian had a bad reputation,
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
it?
they had bad reputations. Kenton had a bad reputation. Old Cor Barner was the law there, and he'd shoot you.
He would.
Yeah,
What was his name?
Cor Barner.
He was the sheriff or
He was the sheriff, the law.
the chief of police.
He was the one. He was the law, and he if you bucked him anyway, he'd shoot you.
No way.
Yes, sir.
And get away with it?
Oh yeah.
Well, do you think
he was the law, and he made the law, and he done the law?
Do you think that that's going to be the only way that the citizens is going to be able to take control back over the country? Is that they're going to have to make the laws more strict than what they are today? Because that's one reason why the lawbreakers are doing what they're doing, because they know that if they break the law, they're only going to get,
Pat on the back and say, do it again.
basically, because some of these
the way the country's going, we're going to have a civil war in this country. Is the way it's going.
Please don't say that, Uncle Bill.
Yes.
Please don't say you're talking about an uprising.
Start taking the guns away from people.
You're talking about an uprising, Uncle Bill.
Yeah, I know it. It's going to. The Democrats is going to cause it because they're trying to push this here social stuff in here on us.
Please don't say that, because this country has went through enough bloodshed. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the law is not any good anymore.
They ain't hardly fit.
They want to take the guns away from
They're
them.
not earning their keep no more whenever it comes to to maintaining law and order, are they?
No.
Now, law and order is basically been broken here in America, hasn't it?
You're going to find this where it ain't going to have no laws. The people are not going to do it because the law arrests somebody. They only put him in jail for arresting the criminal for doing something. It's going to take place if something don't change.
Something's going to have to happen in it. Something big. See, Donald Trump, he's the one that made mention running for this last campaign that what they ought to do to these dopers, these people that won't get off these dope, he said they ought to just execute them. Do it legally.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to say that, and it's another thing to find somebody that's actually willing to do it. You know, after you kill somebody, you got to be willing to live with yourself. You know that?
Yeah. I don't want to kill nobody, but I will kill somebody if he's threatening me and fixing to do something to me.
Well, what I'm saying is if you was hired to kill people and whatever crime that person committed deserved death, would you go ahead and fulfill your obligations and your duties to society towards killing that person?
I guess.
Regardless whether it was hanging them or legal injection or putting them in a electric chair, you'd still go ahead and fulfill your duties and sleep good at night
I don't know about that. I hope I don't have to do that. I hope I never have to shoot nobody or nothing. I'm 90 years old. I don't want to kill nobody.
But you would if you had to save your own life.
What are we watching here?
That's what I was talking about a while ago. That girl right there makes over makes over $1 million a year almost. Where she goes around pointing her finger at those little boxes.
That thing done switched channels on me.
It probably has. It's got a mind of its own.
I probably hit something with this button here.
It may have had.
I'm supposed to be on Max News. Still on.
Well, before I get off of here, what do you think about what went on up there in Nashville whenever those House of Representatives fired them two boys because them two boys was standing up for gun violence? What did you think about that, Uncle Bill?
I didn't know it happened.
You didn't know that Tennessee representatives had basically almost a knockdown, drag out up there in the Capitol. You didn't know that happened?
Huh?
You didn't know that took place?
No.
Really?
I can't get this thing to work. Can't see it for one thing. There we go.
Now, have y'all done already had your fish fry, right?
So what?
Y'all have already had your fish fry, right?
Yeah, that was last Monday, I guess.
They have a big turnout?
I have no idea. I don't never go to it.
You don't?
No. Never did go to it. Didn't dream about going to it.
70 minerals, COQ10, turmeric, flaxseed, and a lot more. The 70 minerals are the key.
You're right. It's turned into a Wild Wild West show out here now today, hasn't it? In comparison to the used to be. And back whenever you was growing up, I guess that's what it took to be able to maintain law and order, because if you didn't maintain law and order that way, the criminals would have taken over the rest of the good people, wouldn't they have? Huh?
They took the law in their own hands because we didn't have no law back then. You had a town sheriff, and that's about it.
And the town sheriff is the one that was the law. And you didn't question him, did you?
Uh-uh.
That fell. I don't know why that fell.
What was that down the floor?
Right here. This right here. I don't know what it is.
What, did you knock it off?
I guess I did.
What are you doing knocking my stuff off?
I don't know, Uncle Bill.
That's
It just
medicine.
fell off of there. I didn't do it
That's our
intentionally.
medicine there.
I didn't do it intentionally.
Well, I thought you just tore it up. You sitting over here with that old telephone recording everything. You ought not be doing that.
Why?
Because, what do you want to record it for?
You only have one time, Uncle Bill, to go through this world. And I know you know this. You don't get a second chance at this thing.
You don't?
No, sir.
I thought you did.
You only get it one time to deal it. And if you don't leave your mark, if you do not leave your mark on this planet in some sort of way, regardless whether you're an artist, regardless whether you write books, regardless whether you paint paintings, or you're a very smart businessman, or you're an architect and you build buildings, if you don't leave your mark, you know whose fault it is that you didn't leave a mark?
Who's wrong?
Yours.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yours.
I didn't know that.
Your fault.
I didn't know that.
And now, which leads to another thing. What kind of mark did he leave? Did he leave a good mark? Was he a good man? Was he a tyrant? Was he an alcoholic? Did he lose his cool? Was he out of control? Was he a madman? Or was he a decent person? Was he a good man? Did he treat his family right? Was he good to the community? You're going to leave a mark. You know that, right?
I didn't know that.
You're going to leave a mark.
I didn't know that.
Now, most people don't want to be recorded. You know why? Because their lifestyle is so bad, and you can't really blame them. You really don't want nobody to know that you live that bad.
Oh, well, you done talked to me and I got sleepy. I might go sleep on you sitting here.
You know the reason why we don't pick up a whole lot of news on the Spanish flu whenever they had a pandemic in the early 1900s? Is because the way that the people reacted and responded to one another, it was so cold and so malice and so ungodly that basically whenever the Spanish flu was over with, everybody shut their mouths and didn't nobody record nothing, didn't nobody write no books about it, and you didn't hear nothing else about it.
Well,
you know why? Because they was ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
They was ashamed the way that they responded and reacted during the time that the Spanish flu. Now you come after the Spanish flu, but basically your mother had to live through the Spanish flu, and it could have been the reason why that did she have cholera or something?
I said polio.
Polio. So it may have been part of the Spanish flu deal that caused her to get that polio.
Well, that polio was something people got a whole lot of when I was a kid growing up.
Would that cripple you or kill you?
It crippled you. A lot of them was in iron lungs. It got in your lungs, and the only way you could breathe was in them iron lungs, you know.
Really?
Yeah. And a lot of people died from it because they couldn't get in them things.
Well, who'd want to live in an iron lung?
Well,
I mean, if it reaches the point that I got to live on a machine, I don't want to live no longer. Do you?
I wouldn't either. But of course, you know, some people they'll do anything to live, you know.
I think it's part of insurance fraud myself. It's kind of like these doctors. Most of them, they don't want to heal you. They just want to treat you. They want to keep you coming back.
You got the bubonic plague was out when I was a kid.
The bubonic plague.
Uh-huh. That was a killer.
The bubonic plague?
The bubonic plague. That was a killer. It killed people.
So that come after the Spanish flu.
I don't know when it come, but it was out when I was a kid.
What's causing all these diseases? What's causing all these diseases? The way people are living, ungodliness and filthy and jumping from one bedroom to another and just living filthy, not cleaning themselves, or what's causing the diseases?
And there's always been some kind of plague out ever since I've been living. It's always been some. The flu has been around for years and years and years. It's a virus. And I don't know of any way you can kill it.
Well, it talks about the afflictions in the Bible. It says that in the last days that there will be afflictions.
Yeah.
Wars, rumors of wars. Also says in the Bible that we'll see things in the heavens and see things upon earth such as we've never seen before.
Yeah. Well, it's all happening.
Well, that's happening now, ain't it?
It's happening now. It's all coming true, and it's going it fast too.
Who led you in the right direction whenever you was a child growing up towards leading you to the Lord?
Who's what now?
Who was a strong influence in your life towards leading you to the Lord whenever
My
you
wife.
was... Oh, your wife.
Yeah. I was 33 years old before I got saved.
So you was already back here in Tennessee.
I was back in Tennessee.
Working in the body shop.
Working in a body shop. That's where I worked at for the last few years. When I started doing work on cars when I was 16 years old.
But you didn't go to church and you didn't believe in God.
believe
Or
in-
you didn't live for
believed in
God.
God.
You didn't live for God.
I just lived. I knew it was a God, and I knew I was a lost person, but it didn't bother me. The devil had his hand on me, you know. It didn't bother me.
Well, the
I was
devil.
gonna live
Well, the
forever.
devil's had his hand on just about everybody, hadn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to teach a kid how to lie. You don't have to teach a young kid growing up how to steal.
They're born in sin.
They're born in sin. They know that stuff automatically, don't they?
Yep. I got to get up from here. I got to get my stuff cleaned up. Them gals will be calling here after a while, and I won't get in bed before 12 o'clock.
Well, you got girlfriends on the
No,
side?
them gals, them girls of mine.
Oh,
Lauren Reaver.
Oh, Lori Reba.
No, I don't have no girlfriend. Do you have a girlfriend?
Look at me, Uncle Bill. I weigh 242 pounds today at the doctor's office. I used to weigh 267 before I started losing some weight. I've lost now, I guess, about 40 pounds since I was at my highest peak. But don't nobody want me. Look at me. Look. Don't nobody want a big fat slob.
Don't nobody want me. I don't want nobody.
Well, you ain't no fat slob.
I don't want.
You ain't no 2-ton tussy.
I know, but I don't want to marry another woman and got to take care of them.
Or vice versa, marry a woman and then let her take care of you.
I always wind up I have to take care of them.
But you're telling me the person that led you to the Lord was your wife. That's a good testimony.
Yeah.
That's really a good testimony. I'm glad you shared that with me because I didn't know that.
Yep.
Was the Lord dealing with you for a long time before you ever gave in?
Well,
Because most people run from God. They run from the Lord. You know.
Well,
I think that's one reason why that your sister's husband was so agitated is because he had walked away from God and he was going to make everybody else's life miserable because his life was miserable.
Who's
and the
that?
person I'm talking about is Bobby Jackson, my dad.
oh,
He had walked away from his
did
responsibilities
he ever
with
get
God.
saved?
Yes, he did. Matter of fact, he had a strong relationship with God, according to the way I understand it, during World War II. And then whenever he married your sister up north, he had a fairly strong relationship. But then whenever his daddy died in 1969, something happened down there in Sidonian Hop-In that caused him to walk away, because it wasn't just him that walked away from his responsibilities in the church, but your sister did too. That's whenever your sister and your mother started going around to all these fortune tellers. They was looking for an answer, but they was looking for the answer in the wrong way. Your mother, she'd drive for mom, and your mother would drive to Alamo. They'd drive to Brownsville. They'd drive to Timbuktu. Whoever was supposed to have been a soothsayer, reading people's fortunes, that's where they would head off to. You know why? Because something happened in your sister's life whenever we was living up in Chicago, and your sister was looking for an answer, but she was looking for it in the wrong direction. She was looking for it in the wrong way.
Yeah, that's why people do that sometimes.
Well, she made a wrong choice in trying to seek an answer in the wrong way.
Yeah.
But now, as far as I know, Dad, it was on his deathbed, but he made a choice whenever my son was there, and he called the priest in. My son's a Catholic, and they said that the priest come in there and prayed for my dad. Of course, my dad was unconscious at the time. His vital signs was going crazy, and they figured that he was fixing to leave the world. And said the priest took a Bible and laid on his chest, and he took his whole body and he laid over my dad's body. And my son said that was very, very unusual. And to this day, I still don't understand why he done that. But he said that whenever the priest stood up, took the Bible off of Bobby's chest, according to David, because David was there, my younger brother, Bobby turned his head, but he never opened up his eyes, like he was fixing to become conscious again. And his right arm went up where the priest was, where the priest was holding the Bible, and about the time that his hand got up to about the Bible, his arm fell, and that's whenever his vital signs went crazy, and less than 2 minutes later, he was dead.
No life left him, huh?
Life left him. But to me, that was his testimony, because they claim the last thing it goes, Uncle Bill, is your hearing. They claim even though you're semi-unconscious or whatever, semi-untosis or whatever you want to call it, they claim that the last thing that goes is your hearing. And I'm pretty sure that he probably heard everybody in that room, and he heard that priest praying for him. You know what I'm saying?
What caused Bobby's death? Don't know.
He done already went through, I think, 2 or 3 heart attacks.
Oh, okay.
He done already had stents put in his heart.
Okay, probably hard to give out then.
Yeah, his heart gave out.
Okay.
And of course, what took your sister was the very thing that took your wife, which was cancer.
Yeah, I remember her when she died.
That was a bad scene too.
Yeah.
She died right over in Rutherford.
Most of people gonna die.
Oh, we're all gonna die. We're all gonna die.
No, not necessarily. Some people gonna be living when Jesus comes, but most likely, people, me and you gonna die.
That's what I'd say too.
Yeah.
I've done already accepted that. Hadn't you?
I've got 1 foot in the grave already.
One on the banana
hanging
peel.
on the edge of it
one
now.
on the grave.
Yeah. I'm trying to pull away from it, but I'm looking forward to it.
But
I mean, I'm not scared of dying. You know, it don't bother me to die.
well, I've done already died 3 or 4 times.
It's,
Maybe I've done already died 6 or 7 times. I don't know. I'm kind of like a cat with 9 lives. I've done come close to death several different times.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, whenever I come into this world, my mama and your sister didn't want me to come home because they was afraid that they would become too affectionate and close to me and then take me back to the hospital while they was going to operate on my kidney, and then they'd die. So they just basically said, well, y'all just keep him in there, and whatever happens will happen. So in other words, they didn't want to get too close to me, and it in a sense it was kind of like they was giving up on me in a way. You know what I'm saying?
well,
Yeah. Of course, in 1961, to operate on an infant and remove a organ, a kidney like that was basically unprecedented. It was unheard of in 1961. And I'm pretty sure if I'd have been down south and gotten born, I'd have been screwed. The only reason why that they saved me was because I was up north, and up north they was advanced with their medical technology.
Yeah.
You know, probably 20, 30, maybe 40 years in comparison to the south, and that's what saved me, is that I was up north.
yeah.
I had a polycystic kidney. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it was infected. I don't know if it was too large. I don't know if it was too small. I don't know if it wasn't operating. But I did hear this. I had a cousin that got hit real bad in the side, and he had an amputee and basically almost paralyzed him. But it took about 4 or 5 years. The lick was so strong that it caused a kidney. You know, you got 2 kidneys.
Yeah.
The kidney died in his body. And did you know that they left it in there?
Well, I didn't know you could do that. I thought you had to take it out if something died in you.
I thought so too.
Well,
But I guess whenever they say it died, that meant that it
well,
wasn't
it just quit functioning.
quit functioning. It was no longer active and doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So as far as the part itself in there, like rotting and deteriorating, I don't think that's going to happen.
It just quit. It just quit working.
Quit functioning.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he, as far as I know, he's still got that dead kidney in his
Our
body.
old bodies is just like an old car. It run good today, and tomorrow something can be wrong with it.
You
Just
know
like
it.
an old car motor.
You know it.
You can be in good shape today, doing good, and then tomorrow's another day. It can go.
But
wrong.
that can happen that way with football players, young people, athletic
Oh, yeah,
people
everybody.
that thinks their life
Everybody.
is going to live forever, and then all of a sudden, boom, bam, something happened, and you're on your way out.
Yeah, it's just that way. If you don't know, you don't. I don't know when I'm gonna die. I mean, I'm not sick. I ain't been sick. But I
Will
don't
you
know.
do me a favor?
Huh?
Will you do me a favor?
What's that?
If you make it to the pearly gates before I do, will you put in a good word to St. Pete for me?
Well, I put in good word before you get there. You don't want you to get to the pearly gates. You got to get it done before you get there. I'll speak about you. I'll let them know. He knows you down here.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna quit
All
talking.
right, I gotta get my dishes.
All right.
I gotta get